Basement podcast with Sam and Casey. I am one of the co-hosts of Screams from the Basement. I am Casey.
And I'm Sam.
And let's get screaming. That turned out really well.
That did. That's the best. That's the best we've ever done that.
Yeah, it is. It was just for the live audience today. We timed it perfectly.
We've been doing this podcast for 2 years.
So today's topic that we're going to be talking about, she is a guest of this convention, Little Con of Horrors. Give it up for Little Con of Horrors, first of all. Everybody having a good time?
He's having a good time, Little Con.
Yeah, this weekend's been an absolute blast, and one of our horror icons that is here today is the one and only Brinke Stevens, and she has been in over 200 different movies, so that is quite the accomplishment, and we're going to celebrate that today with our topic. Sam, what is our topic?
We're going to be going through our 10 favorite Brinke Stevens movies. You could call them the best, but that's always a little subjective, isn't it?
These are just our favorites.
Yeah. We wanted to celebrate Brinke. We wanted to just celebrate the massive body of work that she has. And we're excited to talk about a decade-spanning filmography. Yeah, so this is going to be our top 10 Brinke Stevens movies countdown. We're going to rank them from 10 to number 1, number 1 being the greatest Brinke Stevens movie of all time. Yes. So without further ado, let's get to that number 10. How this is going to work, I will take our even number picks. Sam will take the odd number picks. Spoilers, our top 10 was exactly the same when we looked at our notes. We are very copacetic on our list making. So without further ado then, the number 10 movie in Brinke Stevens' filmography, according to Screams from the Basement, is Sorority Babes and the Slime Ball Bolorama 2. So Sorority Babes Slime Ball Bolorama came out a few years ago in 2022. It is Brinke's feature directorial debut with Full Moon Features. This is a movie that we've grown quite fond of. It has kind of become a very early part of this podcast. Yeah. We in the past 2 years we've watched this at least 3 times, if not more. We love this one. We actually played it at our SuperCon Film Festival last year for B-Movie Bingo, and it just brought the house down. Yeah, it absolutely brought the house down with some amazing gags in this movie. If you've seen the first Sorority Babes and the Slime Ball Bolorama, spoilers, we'll talk about that one a little later. It's the same movie. Full Moon wanted to remake that one. This one does introduce new characters. We also get some of the returning cast. Brinke returns in this. Michelle Bauer returns in this, as Sam has put in our notes, as Force Ghosts. Yeah, they're like Force sorority ghosts. It's amazing. Yeah, and instead of Obi-Wan Kenobi, we get Brinke and Michelle coming back. It's great. Kelly Maroney is one of the big new cast members for this movie. She plays Linnea Quigley's sister from the original film, so again, you get that kind of connective tissue between the two movies. Yeah, there's a gag in the third act involving a shit ton of cash that I won't spoil here, but it's laugh out loud hilarious. It's so funny. This also has, as I think we'll probably talk about quite a bit in a lot of her movies, this has a relative gratuitous shower sequence of people who like sprayed whipped cream on each other and then took a shower. And I believe they take a shower right before they do the whipped cream spraying on. And then they take a shower again. There's like 2 shower sequences almost right in a row. Everyone's favorite in these movies, shower sequences. Right. So number 9, what we have on our list is the sci-fi epic Slave Girls from Beyond Infinity from 1987. This movie is amazing. It's the most dangerous game, but with boobs and in space. Like that's the pitch. Yeah. That's what you get. It's amazing. Yeah, it's literally as Richard Connell, who wrote the original Most Dangerous Game book that I'm sure all of us had to read in school. And yeah, like Sam said, this is that, but like, what's the sci-fi horror low budget version of it? And it's a ton of fun. This movie's an absolute blast. There are some horny ass killer robots in this movie, and they are they're hilarious. Like more horror movies need horny killer androids. Looking at you, AJ, we need some horny killer androids in the next movie. Yeah.
Yeah, and there are some like zombie aliens and monsters in this movie that just look amazing. The practical effects and the makeup work are it's great. It's so much fun.
It's Star Wars with boobs. Like that's the best way to put it. All right, number 8 then.
Number 8.
Number 8. This is another newer film that we have on our list from Full Moon Features. Spoilers, I love Full Moon Features, so a lot of these movies are going to be from the Charles Band canon. And this one is from 2014, celebrating its 10th anniversary this year. This one stars so many scream queens in it. It is Trophy Heads, starring Brinke Stevens, Linnea Quigley, Michelle Bauer, Denise Duff, Jacqueline Lavelle, and Darcy DeMoss. Like, just an all-star cast of our scream queens playing a version of themselves in this movie.
Yeah, and it's one of the very few full-moon slasher movies. Like, Charles Band does not typically do things in that particular subgenre, but this is like one of the few full-moon movies that kind of goes full slasher. It's great.
Yeah, I feel like out of maybe this entire list, this might be the least seen one by horror nerds out there, Trophy Heads, because it is a relatively newer movie. Flew under the radar from Full Moon. This is kind of before their like streaming service blew up. So like the plot of this one again is all these scream queens are playing versions of themselves, and this I call him a kid. He's like some 30-something-year-old dude who lives in his mom's basement, who is obsessed with their movies and decides he wants to make his own version of that by killing off these scream queens one by one and recreating scenes from their iconic films. It's kind of perfect that we had Slave Girls from Beyond Infinity right before this, because that's one of the sequences Brinke gets to homage in this movie is some of her sequences from Slave Girls.
Yeah. And there's just tons of banter between these scream queens playing fictionalized versions of themselves. Linnea Quigley is playing a nun in this, a Reformed Christian nun, Sister Quigley. And there's just, without spoiling it, the end where all 6 of these scream queens are all together again is just one of the funniest endings to any B movie. It's so good. The banter is hilarious. And it's got like a very meta flavor to it.
Oh, yeah, 100%. This is one of the funniest movies we have on our list. I think everyone's just kind of firing on all cylinders and having a blast playing heightened versions of themselves.
Absolutely. All right. So number 7 is not technically a feature, but we really wanted to put it on here. This is actually Brinke's directorial debut, Personal Demons. It's a short film that was released in 2018. And it also features on the fairly new anthology movie Terror Tunes 4. It's about an actress who inherits a mansion and fights her literal personal demons. And it's just, the whole thing is shot on green screen. And it's a kind of an exploration of CG effects and green screen effects. Brinke was literally telling us at her table that they had no physical props, nothing like that. It was all 100% green screened.
There's like sitting on a couch, and the couch is green screen. She's driving a car at one point, and that's green screen as well. And again, like green screen has been like such a talking point, especially for horror fans, because we love the physical thing we can hold in our hands. But how they use this in this movie is so inventive and a great use of the technology and resources that they have. This movie is a blast. Like, it's a ton of fun. You can watch it as part of the Terror Tunes 4 anthology. And this is, I believe, the second one in that film.
It's like the second or third segment in that film, I think. And
the demon makeup in this is incredible. Like, it's a great exploration of what it is to be an actress and who's trying to go on these auditions and dealing with the past that she has and how that can affect her future and her present.
Yeah.
Also has Linnea Quigley, Debbie Rochon, and Billy Butler in the movie as well. So we get just a who's who of horror actors in this movie.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, number 6 on the list. This one might be the most controversial placement because I feel like for many people this is in probably their like top 3 movies. This is from 1988. We get to see the treacherous trio. We get to see the Nightmare Sisters together for the first time, as that's named. The Nightmare Sisters from 1988, number 6 on our list. Directed by David Dakota, who is just again one of my favorite horror directors out there. He'll show up again later on this list, but stars Michelle Bauer, Linnea Quigley, and Brinke Stevens. And the funny thing about this movie is, within the opening, 20 minutes of this movie, we get our 3 Scream Queens playing just completely different versions of themselves that we've never seen them play before. And all 3 are having so much fun. And as an audience member, it's so much fun watching them just dig into these characters because Brink is playing this super nerdy, scholarly college student who is just a little, obviously taking to that heightened level of being the movie nerd. You have Michelle who plays the overeating kind of a slob person who just drops food all over her while she's eating. Linnea gets to play this country bumpkin who just has these Austin Powers teeth in her mouth. It's so funny.
So good.
Yeah, and all 3 get to play off each other very well. There's an entire 10-minute sequence where it's just dialogue and the camera sticks on the 3 of them sitting on a couch going through all this stuff that Brink's character buys. And it's just a 10-minute sequence of these 3 gals bantering with one another without any cuts or changing of where the shot is. And it's just those 3 having a blast and showing off what they can do in front of the camera, both acting wise and comedic wise.
Yeah, it's so funny. And all of the best B movies, it has gratuitous scenes of bathtubs and bathing. It's full of nudity. It's full of third act shenanigans that when these 3 sisters conduct a seance, they become possessed by succubi, and they are, there's so much comedy mind from them all of a sudden flipping the script and being, demonic and possessed.
Yeah, kind of what you expect our Nightmare Sisters to be that's, appeared in earlier 80s movies where they're the scantily clad or completely topless and going after these other horny college students that, again, there's so many perverted college guys in these movies. I feel like they're all part of the same fraternity.
Yeah.
And they're all just really, really horny and really just perverted and don't know how to talk to women. They just like to spy on them through windows.
Right.
Yeah. So that's number 6, Nightmare Sisters.
Oh yeah, Casey.
Number 5.
Number five is one that is the third installment in a series from Full Moon.
Yep.
It's Witch House 3 Demon Fire from 2001. Okay, we have a Witch House 3.
Yeah.
Witch House 3 rules. It is directed by J.R. Brookwalker. The series is kind of Full Moon's Blair Witch Project. And it's about a woman who flees an abusive relationship, and she goes to meet up with her 2 friends, one of whom is very into Wicca and witchcraft. And in her studies and her seances and things, they summon an evil witch played by Brinke Stevens. It's a ton of fun.
It's a ton of fun. The cast is great. Brinke is great in this movie. She gets to just play this evil witch that just shows up all over this house. She shows up in the mirror and in the shower and in the shadows.
Almost Freddy Krueger-like. Yeah.
Yeah, this movie has a lot of twists and turns too, which I was not expecting while watching this movie. Because I'd seen the first Witch House, I've never seen 2, and I jumped into 3 to watch this because I knew Brinke was playing the main villain of the movie. And yeah, this has so many twists and turns in it, and especially when you get to that third act, it's what's happening now? Who's actually the villain here?
Yeah, the ending caught me off guard in the best way. I loved it. It kept me guessing. It's so much better than a movie that's the third installment of a direct-to-video series should be. It's so much fun. It's awesome.
Ton of fun. Number 5, Witch House 3, Demon Fire.
All right, Casey.
All right.
With our number 4.
Number 4, and I feel like 4 through 1 all can be interchangeable. Like I feel like this is from 4 to 1 is all our number 1s because we love all 4 of these as like these are the peak of. We just love these movies in general, and now to have them at the top of top 10 Brinke Stevens movies list just makes all the sense in the world. So number 4 is probably many of you's number 1 pick. It is the original Sorority Babes in the Slime Ball Bolorama from 1988.
Yeah.
How many of you would put Sorority Babes as your top number 1 Brinke Stevens movies? A couple of you?
Yeah. Nice.
Again, we bring up the name David Dakota, who directed this one. And again, I'm bringing up these peeping Toms. They were in they're in all of these movies.
I was about to say, this would make a really good double feature with Nightmare Sisters.
Oh, yes, absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, obviously all us horror fans, we know this movie. It's about like these peeping Toms who are invited to a sorority hazing ritual at the Slime Ball Bolorama, which one, like that's the coolest name. This is one of the greatest titles of all time, Sorority Babes in the Slime Ball Bolorama. Like what a cool title. And like, I want to go to a bowling alley that's called the Slime Ball Bolorama.
Yeah.
That just sounds cool.
I also want to go to a bowling alley where if you break a bowling trophy, a puppet comes out of it and kills you in creative ways. Like the imp puppet in this movie is incredible because it's literally just like it looks like a rubber hand puppet and it's so funny. Like I love the imp in this movie.
Yeah, the imp is like really funny too.
He's genuinely funny.
Yeah, I mean, what I love about this movie, Linnea gets to play like this badass rebel who's robbing the bowling alley.
Yeah.
And that's another question I bring up, like how much money is actually in a bowling alley that you're gonna rob this?
Enough for Linnea Quigley to tote a shot.
Apparently. The Slime Ball Bolorama must be like one of the hot spots in that town of like we have a huge crowd on Friday nights coming out to the Slime Ball Bolorama and they're just dropping loads and loads of cash inside those drawers.
Yeah, there's the paddling scene that Brinke is in that's like, kind of iconic. Yeah, and she also gets torn apart by little imp minions. It's great sequence.
Yeah, great sequence, great movie. It's one of our favorites. It has like a giant explosion at the end of the movie. Like, I don't think people talk about that enough. Of like, this is like a low budget '80s movie that has like a giant explosion in it. More of those needed. I'm glad this one did.
Yeah, 100%. Oh, okay, so our number 3, and there's a reason that it's number 3, and we'll kind of explain that too. Our number 3 is one of my personal favorite movies of all time, the Slumber Party Massacre. Just amazing movie, directed by Amy Holden Jones. It's a very it's written and directed by women, which is very rare in this genre at this time, especially. And this whole franchise is actually all women
directed
written and
by
directed.
women.
Yeah, which is kind of incredible. And it's fairly feminist, even within the confines of being a Roger Corman flick in the early 80s.
This is one of the most feminist slasher movies about a bunch of women getting killed by a dude with a drill. And if you don't know what the drill is like symbolizing, I think it's pretty obvious what the drill is supposed to be.
It's not subtle.
It's not subtle, and I think that's what makes this movie stand out so much, because we both just rewatched it at Joe Bob's Night Marathon.
The Night Marathon,
and it was the first movie that Joe Bob played for that, and I think that's a
perfect
testament to this movie that over 40 years later of like having so many people watch that now 40 years later on Shudder with Joe Bob. Joe Bob was having an absolute blast. This is one of those movies that you throw on during an all-night marathon.
Yeah.
It's a perfect one to set the tone for the evening, even if Joe Bob throws that tone way off in the second movie by playing one of the most literally evil movies I've ever seen in my entire life. What a crazy person to put that right after this absolute blast that is Slumber Party Massacre. But this movie is a ton of fun. Like one of the standout sequences I remember when I first watched this, I don't know, like 10 years ago, is Brinke's scene in this. I vividly remember it because it's a great chase sequence. Like every great slasher movie, the ones that you remember the most have great chase sequences. She has a great one in this where she's like hiding behind the door and she's bleeding because his drill has got this on his arm, and like her blood starts pooling under the door.
Yeah.
As he's walking by and he steps in it.
It's so terrifying.
That's how he knows she's there. It's incredible. I love this movie so much. Again, this would probably be number one, but we have like actual Brink starring as the main character as our number one and not our number two. But this movie is incredible. Like there's no denying on any other list, Slumber Party Massacre could be number one.
Yep. And honestly, Brink's chase scene in this is probably the best part of the whole movie. Set in an empty school, which is always creepy. Like, it's so good. So good.
So I did not ask how many people would put Slumber Party Massacre as their number one movie.
Yeah.
And Brink's movie.
Absolutely.
Yeah, plenty of people. All right, so our top two then.
Yeah.
These are a ton of fun. These, again, we can kind of interchange which order we put these in.
Yeah. I mean, full disclosure, our number two, Casey and I both picked stills from our number two movie from Brink Stable.
Yeah. We love this movie. It's a ton of fun. It's from 1990, our number two movie, and our top 10 Brinke Stevens movie countdown is Haunting Fear, directed by Fred Olen Ray. This one's a ton of fun. It's based on the Edgar Allan Poe story of the premature burial, which again is one of those Poe stories I remember reading in like middle school, high school era of like that Poe.
And it's just a general theme that he used to work with a lot was getting buried alive.
This one's so much fun. It's not what you expect kind of going into this movie. Like Brink is having an absolute blast. This is maybe my favorite performance of hers.
Yeah.
She's absolutely incredible in this. There's, as you wrote down here, there's a banger third act, as the kids say, it's a banger.
Yeah.
With the crazy Brinke Stevens. Again, like Sam said, we should have brought that.
We should have brought our up, yeah.
But she's incredible. The makeup's incredible in this. Haunting Fear rules.
There's an autopsy scene where, I mean, no spoilers, but like the person getting the autopsy is still alive, and it's just, it's skin crawling. It's so good.
It's skin crawling. Michael Berryman gets to play the I don't know what's the
mortician.
Mortician.
Yeah.
That's the word. Yeah. He gets to play the mortician. He's super funny in this movie too.
Yeah. And it's also like it's an erotic movie. Like it's very.
This is a straight up like an erotic thriller with those Edgar Allan Poe like gothic tones underneath it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Casey.
All right. Let's go through these again from 10 to 1. We'll kind of make our way. How many people though would have Haunting Fear as their number one? Any Haunting Fear fans at number one? Just us crazy weirdos up on the stage? Okay. All right, so Sam, what is our top 10 list from 10, and then we'll get to our number one.
Yeah, so at 10 we have Sorority Babes in the Slime Ball Bolorama 2. At 9 we have Slave Girls from Beyond Infinity. 8, Trophy Heads. 7, Personal Demons.
Yes. Sorry.
6, Nightmare Sisters. 5, Witch House 3. Where's my Witch House 3 fans at?
Yeah!
All right. Number 4, the first Sorority Babes in the Slime Ball Bolorama. Number 3, Slumber Party Massacre. And number 2, Haunting Fear. And our number one movie, written by Brinke Stevens herself, is Teenage Exorcist from 1991.
Yeah, big round of applause for Teenage Exorcist. This movie's incredible.
It's so much fun. Yeah, this movie is like what you want out of an exorcism comedy. If you've ever seen the movie Repossessed, which I know Casey unfortunately has.
I have. It's a terrible movie. It's one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my entire life.
This is a much better exorcism parody than that. It's so funny. It's so good. It's directed by Grant Austin Baldwin. As we said, it was written by Brink. It's a movie where she goes from kind of that naive co-ed character. She's kind of just a sweet and innocent at the start of this movie. And by the end, she's a demonic succubus who's whipping and chaining people. Like it shows the full range of Brinke Stevens.
Yes, yeah. And I think that's the reason we put Haunting Fear and Teenage Exorcist as our number 2 and our number 1 movies, because it really gets to give, like, Brink gets to show off so much in these movies as an actress, and I think she's just absolutely incredible. These are 2 of my favorite performances of hers.
Yeah.
So happy to see her in these lead roles and getting to really like show what she can do and have a ton of fun on the screen, because both of these movies are just an absolute blast to watch. There's a hilarious performance in this movie from Eddie Deason, who plays this like pizza delivery guy. You might know him as the nerdy guy in Grease, the original Grease, John Travolta, Olivia Newton-John. He's the guy that gets like the pie in the face. I'm trying to remember his name in that movie.
I don't know.
Eugene in Grease. So that's what I knew him as, like, and seeing him pop up in this movie, I was like, you look exactly the same almost 20 years later. You can still play a high schooler, even though you looked like you were 20 years older than a high schooler in Grease.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, this movie is just, it's got everything you want in a horror movie. It's zany, it's madcap. It's also got one of the best posters. The poster of this movie is amazing.
Yeah, poster art is incredible for this movie. This has a great opening title song.
Yes.
Like, who loves the title song to Teenage Exorcist? Like, that song rules. It's so good.
It's so much fun. Yeah.
Again, that's one of my favorite things in movies, especially horror movies, when they have an actual song that goes along with the title of the movie.
Like the 58 Block or Nightmare on Elm Street 3 or
Or The Mutilator, where they take the original title of the movie, where it's Fall Break, and they still just keep that song for a movie called Mutilator. But Teenage Exorcist ranks up there as one of my favorite opening title songs. It's just incredible, perfect tone setter for this hilarious, creepy, all around fun movie, and perfect movie to pair with so many of these, to have just ultimate movie nights watching these movies. Like, I think a lot of us have. You and I watched a lot of these together.
Yeah.
So it's no surprise that so many sleepovers and parties have played all these movies, and I think we're just very thankful that these movies all exist. Like,
absolutely, yeah.
I think one thing just B movies, horror movies in general, just don't get enough credit for. So, we're all a testament to it, of like, we show up to stuff like this because we love these movies.
Absolutely.
It's like, I could, like, if I ever met Mark Hamill, like, that'd be cool. But like, I would much rather meet people who started Teenage Exorcist and Haunting Fear. Like, that's so much cooler.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, most people have Comic-Con, but we have, Little Con horrors.
Yeah.
And that's amazing. B movies bring people together in a way that I don't think a lot of other film genres do. And that's just, I don't know. I love that.
Yeah. It's a testament to all of us who just love these weirdo movies, and movies with great titles like Sorority Babes and the Slime Ball Bolorama, or Slave Girls from Beyond Infinity.
Yeah.
Those are incredible titles, and I think we all are drawn towards them. So, again, that is our top 10 Brinke Stevens movie countdown. Please come talk to us afterwards. Let us know like what your number 1 would be. Which order did you get these wrong? Did we play something too high? Did we play something too low?
Did we not play something at all?
Yeah. Were we missing something? Give
us something we haven't seen yet from Brinke.
Actually, one of them that I had on the honorable mention, just because it's like you can't find it anywhere. Is Scream Queen Hot Tub Party.
Yeah.
And I like that movie. I just can't find that movie to watch. I've never seen it before.
Yeah.
So if anyone has a copy,
it's very elusive. If you can get us a copy, that would be great.
Yeah, we need to find it. So I think that's definitely one of the big movies we're probably missing on this. But again, that is our top 10 movies. Stop by our table just in the back by the bar there. Come chat Brinke Stevens movies with us, or any movies that we've talked about on our podcast. We're always open to talking with anyone about any kind of movie. So again, we're Screams from the Basement. You can find us on Apple, Spotify, YouTube as well. We have video portions of our podcast. Every other week we do interviews. We've done a ton of interviews. A lot of them actually relate to these movies that we've had on here. We had the director Joe Castro from Terror Tunes 4 that we talked about, where Personal Demons is a part of that movie. We've had Charles Band on the podcast, and we got to talk to him about their latest movie over there at Full Moon. We've had a ton of interviews. AJ's been on our podcast before. talking about lust, magic, and the witch's Sabbath. So like we've had a ton of interviews, so many great guests. So please go back and check those out. And those drop every other Friday. And on the alternating weeks, Sam, what do they have to look forward to?
Well, every episode we pick a double feature, usually a theme or a filmmaker or maybe an actress that we want to highlight, and we'll just do a double feature of 2 movies, and we'll talk about them at length with a lot of side tangents because we're crazy.
This is like the most concise we've ever been on this show.
Yeah, but that's because
like
we wrote notes.
Yeah, we took notes. But yeah, our last episode was Are You Afraid of the Dark? Any fans of Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Yeah. So much kinder trauma.
So much trauma. So many crazy, creepy clowns that definitely left a scar on me as a child and still as an adult. Clowns are the fucking worst. So I'll keep them away because they're terrible. Yeah, I'm gonna leave before that. So again, we are Screams from the Basement. You can check out our merch store over at our table. It's still on sale as we're at the con, as this episode actually goes up on your cool now. But still buy our stuff if you like. Buy our t-shirts, stickers, hats, any kind of that cool stuff.
Yeah.
And we'll be all around South Dakota. So if anyone's in South Dakota in the next month, you can find us out there. We have a film festival next weekend in Vermillion, South Dakota. We're showing Frogman, which is one of our favorite movies of this past year. It's a great found footage creature feature. Highly recommend it. Please come out and watch it. We have the director coming off of that. And then we have our own convention coming up in 2 weeks. SuperCon that we do the film festival for. Yep. And have a ton of horror movies there. We have Nick Simon's Truth or Dare, which is the best Truth or Dare movie, not that terrible Blumhouse one. This is the Sci-Fi Channel one from a couple years ago. We're also showing the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles there with the screenwriter. What other horror movie is
we're playing Name the Demon, which is an upcoming found footage possession flick.
Creepy as hell, has special effects by Joe Casher, who worked on a bunch of these movies that we talked about here. That movie's incredible. And then we have our own guests like Dana DiLorenzo from Ash vs. Evil Dead there. We have Doug Jones from like every Guillermo del Toro movie coming there, Hellboy. And then we also have Hannah Furman from the original VHS movie as our big horror guest for the year. So come say hi to us and we can talk to you more about that. This has been fun. Thank you all for joining us here in the crowd to listen to our ramblings about the top 10 Brinke Stevens movies. Again, we are Screams from the Basement. That's Sam Lenz. I'm Casey Kelvin. Sam, do you want to give us a sign off?
Well, thanks for, I guess you didn't tune in. Thanks for coming and listening to us live. Get ready for Brinke Stevens coming up.
Yeah.
And sweet screams, everybody. Woo!
Thanks for tuning in to the Screams from the Basement podcast with Sam and Casey.
Please follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok.
You can subscribe to this podcast on Apple, Spotify, and if you want the video portion, you can subscribe to us on YouTube as well.
Pick up exclusive Screams from the Basement merch, including shirts, hats, totes, and so much more on our TeePublic store.
You can use our Fangoria affiliate link for all of your Fango needs. You can use that to buy any magazines, t-shirts, and anything else Fangoria related on their website. Please visit shop.fangoria.com/Screams from the Basement and use promo code Screams from the Basement to save yourself 20%. And thanks for tuning in.
And sweet screams.
You're listening to the Prescribed Films Podcast Network, home to hundreds of hours of free podcast entertainment. The shows on this network all have a common goal, providing you with the best discussions about movies and other forms of entertainment media. The PFPN hopes to fill your earholes with audio joy. Visit our website with links to all the other amazing shows at www.thepfpn.com. Thanks for listening.